But there is a marking, a manual marking that converted it to January 30. And there is also a word there, JAN. So January 30 ang lumabas, no?
Okay, Judge Marcos, thereafter, Senator Judge Aquino. Senator Marcos, you may proceed, ma'am, when you're ready.
Thank you very much, Presiding Officer. And Attorney Lotoc,
Yes, ma'am.
nga pag-abot.
Mapayat
Hindi
tulog, ma'am.
aton Senado.
Opo, ma'am.
Okay, I'd like to affirm lang yung sinabi mo kanina na nung nangyari nga itong hating gabi na interview ni Vice President sa Zoom, agad-agad in-orderan kayo, in-instruction na ng NBI na mag-imbestiga. Tama po yun?
Hindi po, Your Honor. Sabado po yon, lunchtime, mayroon kaming meeting ako with the then Director Santiago, I think between 12 noon and 1 p.m. And then mayroong instruction na nanggaling kay Delta Santiago na, Jeremy, may kumakalat sa social media, may mga utterances na ginawa ang Vice Presidente. Imbestigahan natin. Since may cyber aspect ito, imbestigahan nyo na. Doon po nagsimula yun.
Tama. So anong araw yun? Kasi andito sa inyong affidavit of investigation at yung sinabi ninyo na on even date, ang tinutukoy mo ba yung November 23 din?
November 23, ma'am, kasi natapos ho ang...
Oo, gabing-gabi kasi yun di ba?
Madaling araw po ng alauna, ma'am.
That's right. So, nag-meeting kayo kaagad-agad? Ganun ba?
Hindi, ma'am, hindi po kasi namin alam yun.
Kailan kayo inutusan na mag-imbestiga?
During lunchtime, nung may meeting kami ni then Director Santiago, pero iba ho ang iniimbestigahan namin krimen.
Kailan kayo sinabihan ng DOJ na mag-imbestiga? Anong araw?
That same day, ma'am.
Kaya nga, November 23.
November 23.
Oo, pareho lang. Yun ang sinabi ninyo kanina nung tinatanong kayo ng counsel ng prosecution, yan din ang nakasaad on even date ang nakasabi sa inyong affidavit.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so nag-umpisa na kayo, kwento nga ninyo, for phase yung investigasyon, nag-umpisa sa identification, nagbigay kayo ng hash value, nag-preserve kayo ng data, pagkatapos nag-research kayo. Subsequently, sinabi mo na meron kayong open source intelligence search at natuklasan ninyo na meron palang October 18 video na press con na naman ni OVP na nasa Facebook at may mga sinasabi na naman na puputulin yung ulo. Tama ba yon yung October 18 ang nakita ninyo?
That's the continuation in the analysis phase, Your Honor.
Oo.
Yes, Your Honor.
Kasi nag-research na kayo, no? Bilang fourth phase nga ng inyong investigasyon. Tama po ba?
Hindi po, Your Honor. Yun yung third phase ho, yung analysis and attribution.
Sa analysis pa at attribution. So third phase. Pero bandang huli na. Ang pinagtatakahan ko, kung inutusan kayo ng November 23 na magkaroon ng investigasyon, bakit napakaaga? November 6, 2024, a subpoena was issued to ABS-CBN requiring them to submit an authenticated copy of the video pertaining to the 18 October press con. Nandito to sa affidavit ninyo, nasa page 8, number 14. Kung inutusan kayo ng November 23, ang ibig ba sabihin, November 6 pa lang, minamanmanan na si Vice President, iniimbestigahan na siya bago pa yung Zoom conference sa Kongreso?
No, Your Honor. I believe that's a typo yung date. Kasi that's a typo, Your Honor, yung date. Kasi makikita doon yung date noong appearance ng taga-ABS-CBN, which is consistent ho siya doon sa ibang initial
Kailan
ng
ba yung
subpoena.
appearance? Kasi hindi ko nasusundan yung timeline ninyo eh. Parang yung November 23 yung utos, pero November 6 pa lamang may subpoena na. Ba't nagkaganon?
Typo ho yan, Your Honor. Hindi ho yan November
Typo
6.
na naman katulad ng Department of Justice.
No, Your Honor. If I may refer to my notes, Your Honor.
Oo, pakita mo na lang sa akin kasi nahanap ko hindi ko masundan eh.
You may do so,
This is
Counsel.
page 6, number 14 po. November 6, 2024, subpoena to ABS-CBN.
Yung subpoena mismo. The subpoena itself. The subpoena itself.
Wala naman yatang date na binibigay tungkol sa appearance ni Patria Morales at yung iba pang
Meron po,
ABS.
Your Honor, if I...
Pakituro lang kasi
at,
hinahanap
refer
po
to
namin.
Subpoena. Yung subpoena mismo.
For information, the time of Senator Judge Marcos is over. Kindly...
Yes, but he's still responding
Of course,
to the same
we'll wait for
question
the
if you will allow.
responses.
Siya po yung matagal, hindi tayo.
We're only counting the questions that you asked, not the answer. Neither are we counting the waiting time for the witness to answer.
I-check ko lang po, Your Honor, para...
Kasi yung mga sumunod na meeting, doon sa page 13, sa number 30 at sa mga sumunod, yung mga tinutukoy doon, yung mga media na nandun sa Zoom conference, hindi naman siya yung ABS na humawak ng camera noong October 18. Iba naman yung mga tinutukoy doon eh.
Attorney Lotoc, the question of the Honorable Marcos is on page 6, paragraph 14. You said you sent a subpoena on November 6, 2024. Unfortunately, because the annexes are not part of the document marked, it's not here. So the question is quite clear. If it's a mistake, then what is the correct date of the subpoena?
If I can see the real subpoena, Your Honor...
Kindly talk to the mic, please.
Yeah. If I can see the real subpoena, Your Honor, because the subpoena was signed by our Assistant Director for Investigation Service.
As I said, unfortunately, it was not attached to your affidavit, and I doubt if it's one of those marked or pre-marked
Wala.
by the counsel for prosecutors. As he said and admitted earlier, he did not or they did not mark all of the annexes in your affidavit.
Yes, Your Honor. If I may check ko lang po, Your Honor, para sigurado ho.
Wala sa'yo ngayon.
Inaanap ko po rito.
Wala nga pong annex yan.
Wala sa annex at wala rin sa affidavit. Kasi yung mga media na tinutukoy sa ibang pahina, yung mga nag-interview nung Zoom conference.
Dito ho yung certified true copy daw, Your Honor.
If I may, Your Honor, please, can I assist on this regard, if the court will allow?
Only if you can produce a copy of the November 6 subpoena, counsel.
Exactly, Your Honor. The documents are present. They are in the possession at present of the witness, Your Honor, please. They may not have been physically attached to the affidavit investigation, but they do exist in the records of the case as separate pre-marked documents, Your Honor, please.
So
Okay.
it's here?
Presiding officer, then is counsel saying that therefore the affidavit is defective or wrongful and that November 6 is not the right date? What then is the right date to
With
the
all
subpoena
respect,
to
Your Honor,
ABS?
please. With all due respect, we object to the use of the term defective.
Counsel, we shall await. Let the
Yes.
document speak for itself.
Yes, Your Honor, please.
If it's there.
The witness is
Yes,
now
it
in the
was the witness
process.
who said that it was a mistake, not me.
No, it doesn't make the entire affidavit of investigation defective.
No, I merely said the date was wrong because that's what he said.
Yes, Your Honor.
It's just been brought to my attention that in fact, presiding officer, 2 documents were issued on November 6. Not only the subpoena to ABS-CBN, but further the affidavit of investigation regarding the October 18 press con. Can we please be clarified as to these 2 documents which don't seem to appear in the affidavit nor in the annexes provided?
Let's first wait for the witness to answer the first question, Senator Judge Marcos.
Okay.
Yes, Attorney Lotoc.
If I may, Your Honor. Ito ho, ang subpoena, which is TECOM, yung date ho ng appearance niya is December 11.
Appearance po. Tinatanong
Appearance.
yung date ng subpoena.
Date ng subpoena, Your Honor, is 6th day of November 2024, which I believe this is a typo kasi magkakasunod ho ito doon sa mga inisyuhan namin na media personalities.
Attorney Lotoc, typo na yung affidavit mo? Typo pa yung subpoena?
Hindi po.
What are you
Typo.
looking at? The subpoena or the affidavit?
Dalawa yan eh.
What are you looking at, Attorney Lotoc?
Subpoena, Your Honor.
So the subpoena is dated November 6.
Okay.
It is-
And the affidavit also is November 6. Dalawang typo carried over.
Asan yung affidavit? Hindi ko pa nakita, ma'am, yung affidavit na
Your
November.
affidavit
ang
says
pumirma
November
eh.
6.
Pero patingin ako.
Yung affidavit of investigation mo na binigay, pati
I-check
yung
ko po,
amended, carried over din. Yung first draft na rineject ng DOJ, yung ikalawa, parehong November 6.
Saan?
Pirmado ninyo eh.
Page 6, counsel. Paragraph 14 of his affidavit of investigation.
Yes, Your Honor. It's November 6, 2024 ang nakasulat dyan.
So typo din yan? Is it your testimony na typo din yan?
I believe so, Your Honor. Kasi ang intention namin dyan is 11 December 2024.
Anyway, Senator Judge Marcos, let the document speak for itself. That would be the best evidence of it, if at all, of the dates
Thank you.
of either the subpoena and or the affidavit.
Yes, presiding officer, just to provide our witness a chance to correct himself or the documents, sa palagay mo, ano yung tamang date kung mali yung November 6?
Same ho, Your Honor, doon sa mga subpoena na inisyu namin sa media personalities.
Dapat magkakapareho.
Yes, magkakasunod po yun.
Okay, sige. Maraming salamat. Thank you very much, presiding officer. Damang salamat.
Let's move on, counsel. Counsel for the respondent, if you're ready with your cross, you may proceed.
Attorney Lotoc, the NBI is an investigatory body, correct?
Yes, sir.
But unlike the DOJ, it is not a prosecutorial body, correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, you have investigators and not prosecutors. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Now, in relation to this case, what you did was only fact-finding investigation, correct?
Fact-finding and recommendations.
And recommendation, not preliminary investigation.
Not preliminary.
Because that function is with the DOJ, correct?
Yes, sir.
And in the course of your fact-finding investigation, you subpoenaed witnesses, correct?
Yes, sir.
Conducted interviews,
Yes, sir.
gathered evidence.
Yes, sir.
Now, thereafter, you transmitted the result of your fact-finding investigation to the DOJ, correct?
Our recommendations, sir. Yeah.
Okay. We learned from Agent Kalilong last time, just to clarify, that there were 2 transmittals, correct? The
Yes,
first transmittal was on January 30, 2025, correct?
Yes, sir.
For the benefit of this court, there was a transmittal letter then, correct?
Yes, sir.
Can we flash that on the screen? For the benefit of our senators, that is page 7 of the Articles of Impeachment, Annex G9 or GGGG. All right. Now, if you look at the document, this was received by the DOJ also on the same day, so January 30, 2025, correct? Well, it is not clear, but it can be read. If I may be allowed to use a pointer, Your Honor, just to.
You may do so, counsel.
It's quite unclear, but actually, if you look at the actual document, it can be read as January 30, 2025. Do you confirm this?
I don't have the documents, sir. Maybe.
Well, we have a hard copy, and I asked my co-counsel to show the document.
Co-counsel may approach.
30. Yeah, hindi siya clear, Your Honor.
All right. Now, this was addressed to Prosecutor General Fadulyon. Correct?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes, sir.
And NBI's recommendation was for 1 count of inciting to sedition and 3 counts of grave threats. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Now, attached to this transmittal letter was your affidavit of investigation. I won't bother to read the body, but it says there that it was attached to that transmittal letter, correct? Because of course, the transmittal letter won't be empty. It has to contain something, correct?
Your Honor, let the witness, my move that the witness be allowed to answer first before the counsel asks a follow-up question.
Witness will please answer.
I think yung copy ng affidavit is nasa DOJ na, yung first affidavit.
So there was an affidavit of investigation because Agent Calilong also confirmed this last time. So I just want a clarification from you. There was a first affidavit of investigation dated January 30,
Yes,
2025. All right. But we never saw this because it was never released, correct?
I think nasa DOJ.
Nasa with the DOJ.
For purposes of case build-up.
But didn't you keep a receiving copy for your office?
No, kasi meron na kaming copy sa computer.
So in
namin.
other words, you have a
Your
copy of this January 30, 2025 affidavit of investigation, correct?
Your Honor, I move that can the witness finish his answer first before
Yes.
the counsel.
Your Honor,
Counsel for
Yes, yes,
respondent, kindly wait for the witness to finish his answer.
We will comply, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Well, personally, I believe na nandun sa DOJ yung copy and then yung sinubmit sa amin is yung unang certification stating na kailangan yung i-comply itong sa
Alright.
requirements.
Okay. Now, there was also an investigation data form attached, correct?
I don't have the copy, Your Honor.
But if you know if there is a investigation data form that was attached to it, correct? Okay. Now, very well. Now, the DOJ thereafter evaluated the case.
Part of the DC-15 requirement, Your Honor.
No, it's a yes, sir. It's answerable by yes or
Your
no.
Honor, the witness is in the process of answering a question. He's intelligent
Let
enough to answer the
the
question.
witness finish his answer.
Part of the requirement of the DC-15, series of 2024, if I'm not mistaken, the circular has directed the prosecutors to proactively engage in the investigation of crimes or in the criminal investigation. Kaya ho yung ginagawa namin nung nag-submit kami nung transmittal, ang purpose ho nun for evaluation ng ating prosecution at the same time for case build up. So pag nakita ho ng prosecutor na may kulang, part ho ng evaluation at case build up process, nagbibigay ho sila ng recommendation NBI, may kulang kang ganito, hindi pa sa sufficient, i-comply niyo muna. To part ho yun ng DC-15 requirements.
All right, clear. So in other words, the evaluation is to determine if the recommendation is sufficient or insufficient for the purpose of preliminary investigation, correct?
For purposes of case build-up, so that the transmittal or referral would be able to comply the requirements of preliminary investigation.
At any rate, preliminary investigation is the next step, correct?
Yes, Your Honor, after the evaluation and case
All
build-up
right. Can you
process.
receive this evaluation or response from the DOJ? Am I right?
You mean the certification, sir?
Yes.
Yeah, the first
No,
certification.
if only you
Your
receive.
Honor, again. The witness is in the process of answering the question, and the counsel is excited to propound a follow-up question. Let the witness answer first.
Same ruling, same reminder. Witness, kindly proceed to answer.
Again, sir, what's the question?
So you received a response from the DOJ.
A certification dated February 5, 2025.
All right. Oh, no. That's not my question. But anyway, let me direct your attention to a certification issued by the DOJ through Senior Assistant State Prosecutor J.V. Lawrence B. Bandong and approved by Senior Assistant State Prosecutor Herbert Calvin P. Abugan, dated February 5. For the benefit of this honorable court and the Filipino people watching, this is Articles of Impeachments Annex G9 as well, pages 10 and 11. May we ask that the witness peruse this certification? Just a manifestation, Your Honor. Annex G9 is actually not numbered. So pages 10 and 11 was based on the PDF file or the soft copy, but the hard copies are not actually numbered.
Noted.
So, Mr. Witness, was this the response from DOJ following your January 30, 2025?
Yes, sir.
So this certification contained the DOJ's evaluation, correct?
Yes, Your Honor,
And-
part of the requirement of
Wait, again, the same,
Yes, Your Honor.
same.
Your Honor.
The witness still answering. Let the witness answer first before propounding the next question.
And the NBI received this February 5 certification, correct?
Yung copy ko, Your Honor, hindi ko makita yung date.
Oh, I'll help you. There is a note received on the upper right that is unclear. Can we flash that on the screen as well? It is unclear, but it appears to have been received on February 5, 2025, correct? So more or less 6 days after transmittal. Do you confirm this?
Your Honor, before the witness answers the question, I would like to
Yes,
commence
counsel.
my objection on the ground of relevance. May I explain, Your Honor, please? This witness testified that what they filed with the NBI, with the DOJ, is a February 10 affidavit investigation. And here comes the defense now, asking questions as to the first affidavit of investigations that the NBI submitted, which the DOJ asked them to correct and to provide additional information, which they complied with. And what is now at issue is the February 10 affidavit investigation. That's why I'm now asking, objecting on the grounds of relevance.
Your Honor.
What's the wait, let me finish. What's the point of digging into a prior affidavit investigation when what this witness testified to, when what this witness identified is a later affidavit investigation that is now being considered by the DO? The question is simple: what's the relevance?
The objection is overruled. It goes into the credibility of the witness as well as his ability to testify as to his investigative report. And witness is competent enough anyway. Witness may answer.
Yes, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor, we received that letter on 10 February 2025 based on the second letter submitted to Honorable Richard Anthony D. Fadulyon, signed by Judge Jaime B. Santiago. It states here that on 10 February 2025, this bureau received the certification dated 05 February 2025, where the evaluating prosecutors referred the case for case build-up, citing reasons thereof.
Then in that case, Your Honor, we have a problem because this is
Oh,
part.
Your Honor, objection.
I'm not yet- I'm not-
Objection.
Kindly let counsel finish.
Because, like, as I mentioned a while ago, Your Honor, this forms part of the records of this honorable court. This was submitted as page 10 to 11 of Annex G9. This is part of the court's record, and we also received this. These are not our documents.
That's why I'm
These
objecting,
are
Your
the
Honor.
prosecutions. I mean, the
Counsel for the prosecution,
documents.
kindly let him finish.
These are not our documents, Your Honor. These are part of the records of the court. These came from them, and they attached this to the articles of impeachment. Your Honor, we have all the right to confront each and every document because that forms part of the charge against our client. Now,
Counsel-
if Attorney Lotoc is saying, Your Honor, if I may just be allowed
It's
to
just now
finish,
a manifestation,
that
Your Honor.
February, it was received on February 10. We just want to counter-manifest, Your Honor, that there is a received stamp here, says February 5.
Your Honor, this is not highly...
Counsel, the presiding officer already overruled the objection of counsel for the prosecutors. And I thought you would end up with a question. Kindly proceed with your cross-examination.
So in other words, you deny that it was received on February 5, 2025, as seen here in this document that is part of the records of the Senate Impeachment Court.
Well, first, Your Honor, hindi ho ako yung nag-receive niyan. Then pangalawa, ang nakapirma ho rito ang dating director namin, Jaime B. Santiago, at ang sinasabi niya, on 10 February 2025, this bureau received the certification dated 05 February 2025.
All right. Anyway, I'll move on to a new point. This certification noted 7 items, and we went through this the last time with Agent Calilong, so I won't delve on that. But basically, just to go through this very quickly, the first point says that there is no affidavit of the person, so no affidavit. The second point is, or the second note is the press briefing conducted on October 18, so no TSN and affidavit of the person taking the TSN. Number 3 is annexes I and K with marking, so no affidavit of recorder. And no TSN and affidavit. Number 4, Annex L did not indicate who made such TSN, so incomplete information. Number 5, the affidavit of Juan Patria Morales, so no USB. Number 6, only the minutes of the meeting with several persons, so no affidavit. But I'd like...
Oh, Your Honor, that's my objection now.
I'm just reading
Where's
it, Your
the
Honor.
question?
Wait for the question.
Kindly
Okay,
let
I'm
go,
going to the
counsel.
question. I'm just
Thank
getting
you.
the basis, Your Honor. Now, I'd like to highlight note number 7. Please allow me to read that portion, or at least the latter portion thereof. It says there, in the instant complaint, only the NBI executed an affidavit, and there was no participation on the part of the offended parties. As it appears, NBI is not the offended party for the crime of grave threats. My question is this. So based on note number 7, according to the DOJ, the NBI is not the offended party, correct?
Based on number 7, NBI is not the offended party for the crime of grave threats.
Okay, very well. So the offended parties, if at all, are President BBM, the First Lady, and the former Speaker, correct?
Yes, sir.
At any rate, all these, the 7 notes that I mentioned, are all deficiencies in the first affidavit of investigation, correct?
It's not deficiency, Your Honor, because the first affidavit that we've submitted is substantial in terms of
Substantial.
establishing the evidence required. This requirement is a matter of complying the required quantum of evidence required under DC-20. And if I may, sir, the purpose of submitting our referral to the Department of Justice is for preliminary investigation, which under the NPS rules, the new rules under the NPS, the law enforcement agency can submit a complaint affidavit, or in fact, submit a complaint before the DOJ for purposes of preliminary investigation. The requirement that the offended party should have the complaint affidavit is not an indispensable requirement, and so far as the preliminary investigation is concerned.
Mhm.
So far as the preliminary investigation is concerned.
Very well. Now, based on that answer, I'd just like to point your attention to the portion of this certification dated February 5, 2025, next to the box tick with an X. Kindly allow me to read, if we can highlight that portion. Okay. It says here, and you can read with me, insufficient for the conduct of preliminary investigation and must first be referred for case build-up. So in Filipino, this is my question, I'll do it in Filipino. So in other words, nakulangan yung DOJ, correct?
For purposes, Your Honor, of satisfying the elements, the required quantum of evidence, the DOJ required us to attach the affidavits and other documents like the TSN, sir.
Thank you. And the DOJ itself mentioned this, correct? Or said this, correct?
Based on the
right.
certification.
All right. In fact, let me direct your attention to the portion after, I quote, must first be referred for case build-up. Can we flash that also on the screen? And allow me to read. The complaint/referral does not contain all the necessary evidence to prove the essential elements of the crime. Therefore, it is recommended that the same be first referred for case build-up. Okay. Now let me get this straight. I'll summarize first and then I'll ask the question. So the subject incident happened on November 23, 2024, and the NBI conducted fact-finding investigation, as you said. You subpoenaed individuals, conducted interviews, gathered evidence among others, as you said also, and the NBI spent over 2 months or until January 30, 2025 for this process. Is this a fair summation of what we had just discussed?
I don't think so, Your Honor.
You don't agree. And yet, when the NBI transmitted the case to the DOJ on January 30, 2025, the DOJ found it to be insufficient for the conduct of preliminary investigation.
Objection, Your Honor. Continuing objection as to this series of questions as to the prior affidavit investigation, which was corrected in a February 10, 2025. Continuing objection, Your Honor.
The continuing objection is noted. Same ruling by the court. Witness may answer.
Yes, Your Honor. The fact that the Department of Justice issued another
that would be enough. Yes,
certification.
sir.
Can you let the witness finish,
We will
counsel?
comply.
The fact that the Department of Justice issued another certification on February 14, 2025, and it states here that the referral is sufficient for conduct of preliminary investigation and that it contains all the necessary evidence to prove the essential elements of the crime and should be docketed for preliminary
With the
investigation.
permission of the parties. Attorney Lotoc, that's the second certification.
Yes po, Your Honor. The second certification.
Counsel for the response.
Yeah, we will go to that. In other words, based on this certification, the DOJ did not affirm the NBI's recommendation, correct?
No, part of the process of evaluation and case build-up, the DOJ require us to comply with the requirements na hinihingi nila gaya ng mag-attach kayo ng affidavit, mag-attach kayo ng TSN, pero wala akong sinabi ang DOJ doon na hindi substantial yung aming affidavit. Ang require lang ho nila, mag-attach kayo ng yun nga, yung affidavit na nirecord yung video at then yung TSN, sir.
Well, according to you, but we just
Oh, no,
read
you're
that it was
argumentative.
insufficient. Your Honor,
Objection, argumentative.
Argumentative, asked and answered. Move on, counsel.
Okay, that's interesting because there was a 2025 impeachment complaint filed against VP Sara also on February 5, 2025. If you know.
But again, Your Honor,
The date is important because there was also a February 5, an impeachment complaint filed against VP Sara also on February 5, 2025. Correct?
hindi ako familiar.
You're not familiar. That's okay. If I may refresh your memory, this was the fast track 2025 impeachment complaint signed by the
Objection, Your
215
Honor.
representatives.
If a ground arises, a counsel can object. The term fast-tracked,
Oh, Your Honor.
you are labeling a process made by House of Representatives as fast-tracked. Objection, Your Honor,
Counsel, move on and ask your question.
If you know, if this coincides with that impeachment complaint that was signed by the 215
Objection, Your Honor.
representatives.
There's no basis. This counsel,
If you
this
know.
witness, again, already said that he is not aware that on that day there was an impeachment complaint. There's
Counsel-
no basis for that question.
Counsel, witness already answered. The counsel for prosecutor is correct. Witness already answered. He's not familiar with the filing of an impeachment complaint on that date.
At any rate, this
Move on.
pertains to the November 23, 2024 video, correct?
Objection vague, Your Honor. What's the question? Referring to a video. Objection vague.
Kindly restate your question, counsel.
The complaint. The complaint that was filed against the Vice President also pertains to the November 23, 2024or video.
Objection.
If you know.
Again, vague. Complaint filed on that date.
Well, if he knows, he already answered. He doesn't. Who knows? He might all of a sudden recall. Do you know? Are you familiar with that, Mr. Attorney Lotoc?
I said, Your Honor, hindi ako familiar ng filing nung sa impeachment.
You're not familiar. Okay, I'll move on to a new point then.
Move on, counsel.
Now, did you rectify your January 30, 2025 affidavit of investigation?
January 30.
January 30, 2025 affidavit of investigation. In short, the first affidavit of investigation.
We complied with the requirements of the Department of Justice.
All right. Did anybody ask you to rectify?
What do you mean?
Microphone. Use the microphone.
What do you mean?
Did you receive any directive from anybody to rectify that affidavit of investigation?
Objection argumentative. The question was, as he said, we complied, and then he's now asking the
I'm
same
asking
question.
who? I'm asking if there is another person who directed you to satisfy the requirement.
Overruled.
withdraw,
Witness will answer. Witness is an intelligent witness. Aside from the fact that he's a lawyer.
Your Honor, when we received the certification dated 05, February 2025, ito ho yung kinumply namin.
All right. And you added affidavits executed by your agents, correct? To your revised affidavit of investigation, correct?
No, we didn't revise the affidavit of investigation. We just produced the affidavits of the fact that the video was recorded and there was DSN. Yun ho yung in-attach namin sa affidavit of investigation.
So you are denying that you produce a revised affidavit of investigation?
Well, when you say kasi revised affidavit, binago namin yung affidavit namin. Hindi ho namin binago, Your Honor, yung affidavit namin. Nag-require ho ang Department of Justice, kulang kayo ng affidavit as to the fact na nirecord nyo yung video, kulang kayo doon sa affidavit kung sino nag-execute ng TSN, etc. But not the substance ng affidavit, Your Honor.
All right, I'll go back to the point later, but let me highlight one very important observation. Okay, your January 30, 2025 affidavit of investigation included a transmittal letter, as you said, as well as an investigation data form or IDF, correct?
Wala akong kopya dito, sir.
You don't have a copy. Okay. In fact, let's show that IDF. Page 12. This is page 12 of Annex G9 for the benefit of this honorable court as well. Okay. This is an investigation data form. You're very familiar with this document because you're an investigator, correct? Now, this was
Kindly wait for the witness to answer.
he
Are you
nodded his
familiar?
head.
Yeah, investigation data form, sir.
Okay.
Opo, Your Honor.
All right. So in other words, the IDF serves like a cover letter for your affidavit of investigation, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the transmittal letter, along with this IDF, was received by the DOJ, correct?
I believe so, sir.
All right. Now, my question is this: was the investigation data form also received by the DOJ?
I don't have personal knowledge.
You don't have, but you were the one who caused the filing of the affidavit
No, I-
attached to this
I-
affidavit of investigation data
I
form,
instructed
correct?
the agent on case, as well as the executive officer na pag kumpleto na, pwede niyo nang i-file yan sa Department of Justice for purposes of evaluation and case build-up if warranted, sir.
Okay. But here, upon perusal of this investigation data form, there is a stamp received in the upper left portion of this data investigation form, and I'd like to note, Your Honor.
Oh.
And for the benefit of the court, can I ask my co-counsel also to distribute among the senator judges a printed copy so that they can peruse this document better, as well as the witness, so he can confront. There is a stamp Department of Justice received, but it appears that it was initially stamped February 12, 2025, but there is a marking, a manual marking that converted it to January 30, and there is also a word there, JAN. So January 30 ang lumabas, no?
Okay.
My question to you is this: the stamp says Department of Justice, correct?
Well,
No,
wala akong hawak na document ko,
You
Your
can
Honor.
perceive it. And
Kung
mind you,
yung-
these are not our documents. These are part of Annex G9 of the Articles of Impeachment. So these are not our documents.
Your Honor, I would like to object now. The witness already said that he is not aware as to the actual filing because he only asked his agent on case to investigate. And then now the witness is now being propounded the question as to what appears on the stamp as to the time or date of receipt by the DOJ. So the witness said he is not competent to answer that. Your Honor, please. Oh, wait, I'm not done. That's the first one. Your Honor, please. No need for the court to rule, but I am registering my continuing objection to this series of questions as to the prior affidavit of investigation. When in fact, this witness already said that he complied with all the requirements by the DOJ and came up with a February 10, 2025 affidavit investigation. So I move that it be noted, Your Honor, please. The
The
continuing
continuing
objection.
objection of counsel for the prosecutor is noted, but counsel, as pointed out by counsel for the respondent, this is part and parcel of the complaint
Yes.
that the panel of prosecutors filed before this court. If the witness knows, he may answer.
So the question is, the stamp says Department of Justice, correct? It's a very basic question.
Again, I don't know, Your Honor.
No, based on this document,
Argumentative, Your Honor.
the only question is, it says Department of Justice, correct?
As I've said, Your Honor, hindi ako ang nag-file, may inutusan daw ako.
Do you see it in the screen, and do you see it in the hard copy?
Counsel asked and answered, move on. That's
Okay.
the response of the witness.
So will you agree that, considering that this was supposed to be received by the DOJ, it is only the DOJ that has the authority to change the date?
Again, you asked the DOJ, sir. Wala ako akong
Exactly.
idea dyan.
All right.
Counsel for the prosecution, kindly avoid.
All right, but
side
this is
remarks.
not from the DOJ. This is your copy. This is a receiving copy. So when you receive back your receiving copy, you did not bother checking this portion.
Your Honor, hindi ako personally nag-receive niyan.
But this is your affidavit of investigation.
Objection argumentative, Your Honor. Ask and answer.
Asked and answered, move on, counsel.
All right. My question to you now is this. The discrepancy is not 1 day or 2 days. The discrepancy is from Feb 12 to January 30. So it is a substantial discrepancy. My question to you is this. Who changed this
Objection.
date? If you know,
Your
if
Honor.
you know.
That's misleading, Your Honor. My goodness, that's misleading. This counsel is assuming that somebody changed what? The counsel failed to elicit any answer from this witness, and now the counsel is conceiving that somebody changed that and confronting our witness with that. Misleading. This is the classic case of a misleading question.
Counsel-
You assume something that has yet to be established. That's not how we do it, with all due respect.
Counsel for respondent, I think you made your point and you gave a copy to the senator judges, and we see your point.
All
Go
right.
on.
But my more important observation is this.
Objection, Your Honor, please. You are supposed to ask questions.
Yes,
and not
I will go to the
Kindly-
question. I will go to the
Kindly
question.
allow counsel for respondent to finish his question. He may just still be laying the basis. You may
Thank you,
proceed,
Your Honor.
That's
counsel.
precisely what I'm doing, Your Honor. Can I direct everyone's attention to the date appearing at the bottom portion of this document? It says here,
Counsel, technically not everyone, just the witness.
Yes.
And let's see if the witness can answer your question.
it says here February 11, 2025. So in other words, it was and it says here subscribed before NBI agent Ricarte. In other words, the date of the document is February 11, but it was received on January 30, 2025 by the DOJ. Do you have any explanation for this? That's the
Objection, Your
question.
Honor. Objection. This witness is incompetent to attest to that exactly because he said he is not aware of this series of facts. I know where the counsel for respondent is going. Unfortunately for him, his line of argument was already nipped in the bud when this witness said he is not aware of that. He should move on to other points.
Your Honor, the witness said that the investigation date, this investigation data form was attached to the original affidavit of investigation. And we want an explanation why there is a discrepancy on the date. The witness is a lawyer.
Exactly.
He has an
that's the point.
experience, Your Honor, in filing cases. We just want to know, Your Honor. We want to get to the bottom of this
If-
matter.
if- if-
if
Considering
the
also,
witness-
Your Honor, that this is about transparency.
Will the parties please settle down? If the witness knows,
Yes.
Attorney Lotoc, do you know? Can you explain the discrepancy, or are you personally aware of the discrepancy?
I cannot explain this, Your Honor. Unang-una, hindi ako nakapirma dito, hindi ako nag-receive. At wala akong idea dito sa...
But Attorney Lotoc, you see the point that the counsel for respondent is trying to make, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
That the date of receipt was changed to 1/30, January 30, but it was subscribed to on February 11. Meaning,
But-
you see it, but you have no personal knowledge how that came about.
Yes, Your Honor. I don't have
Move on,
personal-
counsel.
So doesn't this demonstrate that that the document was
Allow
tampered
counsel to
with?
finish.
Doesn't this demonstrate, if you know that this document was tampered with? does
Objection,
that
Your Honor.
demonstrate
Exactly. He's now arguing with our witness, Your Honor.
Sustained. Move on, counsel. Move on to your next topic, counsel.
Your Honor, but you agree, Attorney Lotoc, that the IDF is not a simple cover letter, correct?
Ask and answer, Your Honor.
Okay, in fact, it is an affidavit, correct? An IDF is an affidavit, correct?
An ID? I don't think so, Your Honor. It's not an affidavit, Your Honor. It's
The investigation data form.
not an affidavit.
So you don't agree. So in other words, this certification part here, and with the subscribed and sworn to, it is for you. This is not an affidavit.
Argumentative, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I just made my question more specific, Your Honor. There is a part here, subscribed and sworn to, and the witness is. I want to ask the witness if he considers this document as an affidavit despite this portion. What's the answer? Is it an affidavit or
Attorney
not?
Lotoc, is this sworn to? Is this document sworn to? What's the title of the instrument again? Can you go up?
Investigation data form, Your Honor.
Is an investigation data form subscribed and sworn to by the person filing it? To your knowledge.
Yes, Your Honor. There is subscribed and sworn to before this 11th day of February and signed by the administrating officer.
Okay.
And as law practitioners, we know that when we file a case before the office of the city prosecutor, this actual page is signed and subscribed before the public prosecutor.
Your Honor,
Correct?
again.
If
Objection.
you know, you are a lawyer
Continuing
and you are
objection
a
as to-
supervisor
If
of
I
your
may.
department. I'm just asking a basic question.
I'm now-
As a law practitioner, as a lawyer, you know that this IDF is signed and subscribed before the public prosecutor when you file a case, correct?
If I may object, Your Honor, continuing objection as to the relevance of this series of
Noted,
questions.
same ruling. Witness may answer if he knows.
Again, Your Honor, before the prosecutor?
Correct. In normal cases, the IDF is subscribed and sworn to before the public prosecutor, correct?
Well, in this case, Your Honor, it was administered by AD Assistant Director Glenn Ricarte, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm glad you pointed that out. Isn't Ricarte from the NBI?
Yes, Assistant Director po siya.
In other words, this is a DOJ document, but you made your subscription before an NBI agent. Isn't that supposed to be before the DOJ agent?
But again, wala akong personal knowledge dyan sa details na yan, sir. Siguro tanungin niyo kung sino ho yung naka-affix ang signature.
Alright.
Sir.
But what is worse, if I can
Your
direct
Honor, objection. Another objection, Your Honor. You know, this council is in the habit of inserting,
Your Honor,
adding value
if we
to
may-
what is otherwise.
please be allowed to continue, Your Honor. This is our time. We've given them enough
Counsel
leeway, Your
for the
Honor, after more than
prosecutors,
hours.
Let him lay the basis of his question.
Yes.
All right, can I direct your attention to the upper right portion of this IDF? It states docketed 3/7/2025, and there is a docket number XVI-INV-25C-00048. Again, this is not with the source of this document is not the DOJ. This is your receiving copy, correct? In fact, this was part of the subpoena documents which you sent to the House of Committee on Justice, correct?
Objection. Compound questions. Two questions.
Okay, I'll
Kindly reform, counsel.
so, all right. My question is this, okay? So, do you confirm that there is a marking on the upper right which says docketed 3/7/25, and there's a docket number assigned?
In this document, sir, yes.
All right. We manifest, Your Honor, that this is still the same Annex G9. So, in other words, you're telling this court that this document was subscribed on February 11, 2025, received on January 30, 2025, and docketed on whatever it is, July 3 or March 7, 2025. Is that what you're saying?
That's compound. That's compound. You're asking 2 days and asking for one question.
No, Your Honor, I just described the document
Exactly.
as it
Compound
is.
question. Ask one question per date. That is exactly the genius why we don't allow compound questions. You're asking 2 questions and asking this witness to answer once. That's dangerous. That's
Counsel,
compound question.
counsel, presiding officer will clarify the matter. Questions were earlier asked already with respect to the February subscription and the January 30 receipt. Insofar as the docketing is concerned, do you see the numbers and or dates 3/7/25, Attorney Lotoc?
Yes, Your Honor, in this document, there is number 3/7/25.
And for clarity, NPS docket means National Prosecution Service.
Yes, Your Honor.
Is that correct?
Opo, yes,
So
Your
it's a
Honor.
docket of the National Prosecution Service.
Yes, Your Honor.
Proceed, counsel.
All right. So now I'm showing you pages 169, 168, 169 also of Annex G9. This pertains to the affidavit of Agent Kalilung, which is an attachment now to the revised affidavit of investigation. You added this document to rectify the January 30 affidavit of investigation, correct?
Again, sir?
You added this document in order to rectify the January 30, the first affidavit of investigation, correct? And we will confront you with the document. Again, these are not our documents.
The document was signed by Agent Mark Calilong and subscribed and sworn to before Attorney Van Homer ang Luben. Sir.
Okay. So in other words, I just want to take a look on the date. Can we flash the date? So this So when you received the February 5 certification from the DOJ, you executed this, and it was February 10.
Yeah,
correct?
sure. No,
I'm not the one
that's
who
now
executed
misleading.
it.
That's misleading. It's Agent Calilo who executed that, and then you're asking, you executed that. That's misleading.
No,
It's clear
but
on the record.
But this is part of the revised affidavit of investigation, which this
Objection
witness
revised.
co-signed.
The
If he
witness
knows-
already said
if
that
he
they
knows-
did not revise it. They just complied. Misleading, Your Honor.
Oh, you want to go?
Misleading.
Okay, since the-
Counsel, kindly settle down. The question, Attorney Lotoc, is did you add, in order to comply with the DOJ requirement, this affidavit signed by Agent Calilong? And is the date February 10? Meaning in compliance with the DOJ observation, is this one of the affidavits that you added? And is it dated?
Although I don't have my record, it appears so, Your Honor, based on the document shown to me by the counsel.
Both as to the fact that it was one of the affidavits added and as to the date, Attorney Lotoc.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
All
Go
right.
on, Counsel.
I'm showing you another affidavit. This is page 178, 179 of Annex G9. This now pertains to the Geran affidavit. This was also an attachment to the revised affidavit of investigation.
Objection again, Your Honor, please. The continuing use of revise, when this witness already said that they did not revise anything, they just complied with the requirement. That's now misleading.
Your Honor,
many
just to-
times over, misleading.
All right, just to put this issue at rest, Your Honor, I'm confronting the witness with a letter to Richard Anthony D. Fadulyon dated February 11, 2025. And I want to read, Your Honor, the last paragraph thereof. It says, to support our recommendation, attached herein is the revised affidavit of investigation. This is not our document. This is the NBI's document. Can Attorney Lotoc be confronted with this document, please?
It was
Attorney
signed.
Lotoc, please answer.
Yes, Your Honor. It was signed by then Director Judge Jaime B. Santiago.
Can you confirm the last sentence for the record? Can you read it for the record?
To support the recommendation, attached herein is the revised affidavit of investigation, including its
Can
attachment.
you repeat the word before the word affidavit of
Ask an
investigation,
answer,
please?
Your Honor. Ask
Asked
an
and
answer.
answered. So,
Then I'm not misleading after all.
Objection,
Anyway,
Your Honor. That's an unnecessary statement. Counsel, you're supposed to ask questions and not make these remarks.
Counsels, kindly settle down. We're about to wind up the day.
all right. I'm showing you now pages, proceed, 178 to 179 of the revised affidavit of investigation. Can you be confronted with that document? The date is February 10, 2025. I just want to confirm the date, if that is correct. As it
Date?
appears from the document.
As it appears here, 10th day of February 2025.
Oh, very well. I am showing you now pages 187 to 188 of Annex G9, also a Kalilong affidavit, which is an attachment to the revised affidavit of investigation. Can we flash the date of that document?
What's the question?
Also February 10. So in other words, you attach this to your revised affidavit of investigation.
It appears here, 10th day of February 2025, sir.
Can you attach it to your affidavit of investigation? Correct.
As an attachment, sir.
All right, very good. Now, showing you 199 to 200 of Annex G9. Now, this is the Asuncion affidavit. And I'll make a point in a couple of questions, Your Honor. Can you just confirm the date also and if it was attached to your revised affidavit of investigation?
10th day, it appears here, 10th day of February 2025.
All right. So it was attached also to your revised affidavit of investigation.
Assumption. Yes.
All right. Now, this is the question. I'm showing you now page 112 of Annex G9, another Kalilong affidavit. Did you also add this to rectify your January 30 affidavit of investigation or the first affidavit of investigation? We have here a soft copy, affidavit of transcription. Was this also a document that was lacking in your first affidavit of investigation, which you added to your revised affidavit of investigation?
Again, Your Honor, registering my continuing objection as to the relevance of this series of questions that is consuming the entirety of the defense's turn to cross-examine this witness. What's the relevance?
Noted. Same ruling. Witness may answer.
Again, Your Honor, the
Was this also part of the revised affidavit of investigation to rectify the defects that we highlighted a while ago?
no, there was no rectification, there was no defect. Again, this is part of the compliance, given us by the Department of Justice for us to comply.
All right, if you want to use that term. So in other words, after you received the Feb 5 certification, this was also one of the documents that you attached to your revised affidavit of investigation. Correct?
I believe so, part of the compliance.
All right.
Sir.
My issue is this. Let me direct your attention to the bottom portion of this affidavit. It says here, in witness hereof, I have, can you zoom that in? I can't read it. The date is February 3, 2025. Can you zoom that in? So in other words, you are trying to convince this court that when you...
What's the question? What's the question?
This is the question. Are you trying to convince this court that you executed this affidavit prior...
Objection, misleading.
He did not
He
execute
did not.
the
No, sorry. You attached this affidavit prior to the Feb 5, 2025 certification?
Prior to what, Your Honor? February 10th?
Okay. You received a certification on February 5, 2025,
Yep.
correct? And you said that you added affidavits after receipt thereof. Now, you mentioned a while ago that this was one of the affidavits that you added, and yet the date came prior to the DOJ certification dated February 5, 2025. Do you confirm this?
I think ang makakasagot po niyan si Agent Calilong, Your Honor, kasi may mga attachment na kami during the first affidavit na na-include na doon sa mga nire-require ng prosecutor na nandun na. At nung nag-issue ang prosecutor gaya po ng number 2, the press briefing, sige muna. Ito, Your Honor, gaya ng number 1, there is no affidavit of the persons who recorded the video entitled BP November 23, Press Con at Batasan through OBS. When in truth and in fact, kasama ho na in-attach na doon yung affidavit of authentication doon sa unang affidavit.
So in other words, you're telling this court that the DOJ made this mistake? That there was no...
Not necessarily, Your Honor. Pwedeng hindi nakita ng prosecutor na naka-attach na yun. Kasi nandun po sa date na January 30 yung execution ng affidavit of authentication.
Your Honor, if before we continue, Your Honor, I'm noticing something, Your Honor, please. The defense is in the process, has been presenting portions of an alleged document, and they're making notes. Oh, I don't think that's proper, Your Honor. When you present a document, you present the document as if you don't make annotations.
Exactly, Your
Note
Honor.
number 2, that's not proper, Your Honor.
We are presenting the actual document and we're confronting it. This is just to address, Your Honor, what was intimated by the senators, that they want to be able to follow the discussion, Your Honor, using the screen.
If I may, my problem with that, Your Honor, please, because it's like you presenting your observation on a document and you're showing that to the court when what you're supposed to do is just to confront this witness with a document without any annotations. That's just my observation, Your Honor.
Noted. Counsel, please proceed. For respondent, please proceed.
Meaning, but if you go to the contents, right, it says here, and let me read, the press briefing conducted on October 18, 2024 was not recorded and or stored in a DVD. No video submitted and there was no TSN of the said briefing. Do you confirm now that this note on Feb 5 was actually addressed by the affidavit submitted by Agent Calilong?
But come again, sir?
This note was satisfied by the submission of the affidavit by Agent Calilong.
What affidavit, sir?
The affidavit of transcription dated February 3.
But can I see the affidavit, sir? Para lang sure.
The one that we showed a while ago. It pertains to the same, because if you read here, if I may be allowed to read paragraph 1, can you zoom that in? Or no, paragraph 2, it says there, in relation to the ongoing investigation, the undersigned was tasked to transcribe. So this transcribed the screen-recorded video of the press conference of VP Sara on 18 October 2024. So in other words, this was exactly what the DOJ required, correct?
Yeah, based certification na in-issue, ang sabi ng DOJ, the press briefing conducted in October 18, 2024 was not recorded and was stored in a DVD. There was no TSN of the said briefing and the necessary affidavit of the person taking the TSN.
And yet, on its face, this was, because the date is February 3, on its face, this was executed prior to the Feb 5, 2025 certification, which noted this requirement.
As I've said, Your Honor, ang nag-uusap po dyan, ang prosecutor at saka si Agent Calilong, may mga attachment po kasi nung first affidavit na hindi napansin ng prosecutor. So
That's your answer. Okay. So, but the thing is, if I let's go back to the IDF, investigation data form. Now, the docket number that is indicated here is XVI IND 25C-0008. But in the Feb 5 2025 certification, can we flash that? The docket number is different, appears to be different. It's XVI EVAL-INB 25A-0049. Moreover, in the subsequent DOJ certification dated Feb 14, 2025, the docket number is also XVI.EVAL-INV-25A-0049. Do you confirm the difference in the docket numbers?
Your Honor, no personal knowledge and DOJ ho ang naglagay ng docket number niyan.
But you confirm that it was different. These are all received copies.
Ask an answer, Your Honor, please. Ask an answer, argumentative.
No, the answer is
Ask
not
an answer,
responsive.
counsel. Move on.
So in other words, despite the discrepancy in numbers, you still decided to push through with the case.
What, Your Honor?
Despite the discrepancy in docket numbers, you still decided to push through with the handling of this case, correct?
Again, I cannot confirm on the numbers because it's the DOJ who placed that number, sir. Ulitin ko, mas maganda ko tanungin niyo ang Department of Justice, sir.
But insofar as you are concerned, as you are the complainant in this case, correct? Insofar as you are concerned, what is the correct docket number? Is it the one ending in 0049?
I will now object.
Or
I will
is
now
it the
object.
one ending in 0048? What they used, Your Honor?
I will now object on the ground of misleading. You showed two docket numbers which appear different. And you have yet to establish that there is a wrong one and a correct one. And you have not established that. This witness said he is not aware of that. You have not established that there is something to be corrected. That's why the objection now, Your Honor, please. That's misleading. You assume that something is wrong that has to be corrected. Misleading.
Counsel, witness is not competent to answer your question. He already responded that this is a DOJ form, but he is not aware, and that it might be proper to ask the DOJ instead at the proper time. Move on with another point, counsel. I think we've unless there's another inconsistency, you can move on to another inconsistency or another point.
Your Honor, just one last on this point. But in terms of what you followed, because as we know, you submit subsequent pleadings as to these two docket numbers. Which one did you follow? The 00048 or the 0049?
Well, I don't have the record here, Your Honor. If I can check my own record.
Do you have it
Can you do that now?
Counsel, can you give him a copy of his record?
Yung full record. Yeah.
The chair finds that relevant because in filing additional pleadings or other materials to the DOJ, they need to indicate the NPS number for reference. So which one are you following? Which one did you follow subsequent to this?
Yes, sir. This February. Wala rito. Ito ba? Well, wala ho rito, sir. Teka. Ang naalala ko, sir, yung sa investigation data form, dated February 11.
Ano pong nakalagay na NPS docket number doon? Meron po ba?
Yun po, sir, ang hindi ko, Your Honor, hindi ko po ma-confirm kung anong NPS docket number. Ito ba yun? Teka, saan ang NPS ito?
Your Honor, may we just manifest for the record that the witness is perusing the IDF investigation data form that is attached to the articles of impeachment, Annex G9.
So noted.
Well, this is the document from the defense, Your Honor. I cannot confirm, Your Honor. As of the
Move on,
moment, I
Counsel.
cannot confirm.
But this is as received, correct? So in other words, you just received the document and
Mhm.
you didn't bother to
Argumentative.
To check.
Objection.
Counsel, let him finish, but indeed it is argumentative. Move on to the next question, Counsel. With the permission of Senator Judge Tulfo, are you